Hey there. Well, I just went a little further down. I'm trying to match the stem to the scion that I'm using. Today what I'm doing is I'm top working this pawpaw, and I'm trying to convert it to another variety. You see I'm using a razor blade, something you got to be very, very careful with because they will slip on you if you're not careful. Took that down to the very edge of where the blade comes out. It's a straight razor, and got me a split going on there. Set the blade to the side. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking at leader branches. I'm trying not to graft into last year's growth. I have scions small enough, but I want to look at the main leader branch that's feeding these little branches. Like right here is a leader branch, and here is last year's growth. Last year's growth. A leader branch is right here, which I'll graft into that branch. And this right here for today will be my last graft, and I'll come out here tomorrow and I'll finish it up. And this one right here, I have last year's growth, last year's growth, last year's growth, leader branch. I'm gonna snip down here and tag into that leader branch. Now, I used a razor blade to take care of that. I snipped it and then I cleaned it up to get rid of any bruising that may have come from the uh, snips. And now I've got a piece of scion. This is overleased, and what I'm going to do is cut my wedge. The graft that I'm using or doing this with is a cleft graft. And I'm trying to make this little wedge as long and as thin as possible. And try to match the sides up as best you can as far as your cuts. And you want it to be a long, straight cut. You don't want it all jagged and everything because you need that good fit. And I got a little bit of a jaggedness going on the end. And I like to square them up. Nice and square. Now, this overlease, there's a good distance between the buds. I only use two buds on a scion. And, and I only use one layer of parafilm on that bud. As you all know, I've done some videos on grafting. I've been successful with the grafting, and it really, really does thrill me that I've been successful. Stretch. Now to break it off. You know this knife I want to show you. Stanley 10-049. It's not a razor blade, but it's as sharp as a razor blade and it's thinner than a regular pocket knife. I really like that, but I still yet use the razor blades because the razor blades are so thin. Let's go ahead and get this wrapped up here real quick. This will be my last graft for tonight because it's starting to get a little chilly. I'm running a little late on grafting this year because we've had a late spring. Spring came in and we've been having frost every night. And well, after last night, the danger of frost is now gone. And that's the reason why I'm grafting now. Last year, I had trees out back that I had grafted back in, I think the 10th is when I did my grafting. Today it's the 15th. Now I'll just stick that little booger in place there. They say as long as you have one side touching. And I like to make sure that both sides are touching. I like to make sure the scion wood is the same size or extremely close to the same size as the piece that I'm grafting into. Got that wrapped up. Let's get another piece on there just for good measure. Because I'm going to make sure that slit I made is completely covered up and so it don't dry out. You don't want that scion to dry out. And I'm not going to stretch it as much because I'm going to squeeze the two pieces together with my finger. And to make sure that the cambiums are touching one another. As I wrap, I squeeze. Try to draw them together to make that union. One other thing that I do like to do, and I've been doing it on the outside of the parafilm, is a rubber band. I do it on the outside because the weather will cause that rubber band to decay, and it'll help to, and you gotta worry about it. Some of them, they come off on their own. So every once in a while, I have to come out here and cut the rubber band loose. But I'm stretching that rubber band as I wrap it around the two pieces that I'm working with. I'm trying to squeeze the cambiums into one another to ensure a good contact. That way they grow and form into one branch. This little tree right here, it came from a Amish tree farmer, and it's done very well. He starts them from seed, he grows them, and you want to know what? That tree was almost this tall when I bought it, and he only charged me $6. $6 for probably one of the nicest little pawpaws trees that you'd want. I know the price of pawpaw trees and seedlings have really skyrocketed here lately. Now, I'm about ready to go ahead and tie this off. Cut that excess off because It's easier without the X off, tie it off. For me, anyways. Fingers ain't as nimble as they was years ago, but with enough practice, I've wrapped a bunch of them. Well, that one right there was a cleft graft that I just conducted. And I got one back here that I did a tongue and whip, and I did a cleft graft right there. And it's looking like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more grafts to do for sure. I don't know if I'm going to graft into this or not. We'll wait and see tomorrow. But I just wanted to share that with you. I like to utilize the leaders, that leading branch. That's to me. I look at that. That is a feeder. That's feeding last year's growth. Last year's growth. I'm trying not to graft into. I'm trying to graft into what I would call a feeder branch. Like right there, a feeder branch. But anyways, just something I wanted to share. Don't want to go on too much. My name's Jim. It's getting cold out here. Got to head into the house. If you like what you see, subscribe. And don't forget to click on that bell for any notifications. Well, that bell ain't there no more. It's a save button. I really don't know what that does. But nonetheless, any comments or questions that you have, I welcome. Get this picked up and head into the house. You all have a God blessed day.